Good morning. We have a blistering 50-something degrees and no wind, and it's overcast, but nice day for a walk on Sunday. I have duties this afternoon. It's a big secret, so don't tell anybody. I'm sneaking Holly out for her birthday celebration, and I've hidden her presents in the trunk of my car. So that's the pleasant news. On December the 1st, the Wednesday, I believe that's right, the Supreme Court is having its argument on Mississippi's abortion law, which provides that a woman can't have an abortion after 16 weeks, a different period of time. It's a sensational case because we have a Supreme Court, if it votes politics, it may vote to either eliminate abortions or to try to narrow the period of time, or some other device that would adversely affect a woman's right to be let alone, a woman's right to exercise choice over her own body. And we don't know, as I'm speaking to you, which way they'll go. But there are a couple of things that we can take notice of. There is a very strong argument on the other side, and the basis of it is that Roe v. Wade provides that a woman has 24 months during which she has almost complete control over her own body, and that after that there are certain restrictions. So this Mississippi law directly contradicts that and was written in that way to pressure the court. Now we know that Texas also has a law, and they have it for 6 weeks, in which case a woman might not even know she was pregnant during that period of time. Now, how is it going to happen at the argument? Well, let's examine the membership. The principal person we should talk about is Associate Justice Thomas, whose wife, you may remember, participated in the January 6th insurrections, supported it, and has been very vocal on the Republican side. And in recent days, there has been a celebration of his 30 years on the court. And in those 30 years, he's written a lot of dissents, but now he may have come into his own because he has a lot of former law clerks, including one who will be arguing on behalf of Mississippi, a guy named Stewart. And you know what he thinks about this whole process, or he wouldn't be arguing it. When he was appointed to the bench, you may remember, Thomas had a problem with harassing women. Even in the early pre-Me Too period, we understood that one shouldn't be harassing and making sexual and provocative overtures to women in the workplace or any place else. He survived that. I think he got 52 votes to become a member of the court. Not a shining recommendation. And a good friend of mine, Bill Moffat, tremendous lawyer, is also a person of color. He worked out at the same gym as Thomas, and Thomas invited him when he was being sworn in. And to Bill's credit, he declined the invitation. A lot of people would not have done that, but Bill knew what the standards of life were, and that he couldn't expect very much of Thomas on the court. And we haven't seen very much of Thomas. He hasn't been asking questions until recently, and one of the reasons is the rule in the Supreme Court: if you are on the side that's going to prevail, say it's a 5-4 vote, if you're on the side of the 5 that's going to prevail, if you are the senior member of those voting on that side, then you get to identify who writes the opinion. In other words, Thomas has reached that point. He is the oldest bad conservative on the court, and he gets the opportunity, if he's in a 5-4 decision, to preside over the selection of the justice who will write the opinion. Now keep in mind, when Thomas was at his hearing to be approved, he was asked about Roe v. Wade. He said, he hadn't looked at it in years. He hadn't paid any attention to it. But 2 weeks later on the court, he wrote a very strong opinion. He referred to those who sought abortion or were involved in any way as abortionists. He claimed there was no constitutional foundation for providing for this right to be let alone. And some of you may know who followed this issue that before Roe, there's a case, Griswold against Connecticut. And the question was, could you prosecute a husband or wife or doctor for providing a birth control pill? And it was a criminal action at that time. And my hero, Associate Justice Douglas, wrote the opinion. And he basically talked about the Fourth Amendment, invading a person and seizing them in some way or other. He spoke about the Fifth Amendment, fundamental due process. And he generally talked about the penumbral of the right around these amendments to the Constitution. So thus was born in Griswold against Connecticut, saying you couldn't tell a married couple that they couldn't have birth control. That was the beginning of the thinking, the legal thinking, constitutional thinking that led to Roe v. Wade. And then Roe v. Wade extended it and did a lot of research and concluded on the periods in which a woman had entire control over her body and other periods when she didn't. That's what's at risk here. And you can expect the questions from Thomas to be very tough in this direction. And I believe he's the first person up to ask questions because of seniority and so forth. Now, what can we expect in the end? Like I said, we could expect that they'll overturn Roe v. Wade, that they'll try to make some limited ruling, or they may come up with something else based on the arguments before them. I am a signatory on an amicus brief that challenges what Mississippi is doing. But the key briefs are written by the parties, and the amicus brief will be persuasive because the people who wrote it were much experienced, understand the issue in depth, and are very persuasive. That would matter if the court was not political. And so the fear we have with this Supreme Court is that it will be a political decision, much like some others we've had from this court, even in this term. So brace yourself, we might say. So that argument will be December the 1st. The Gistlane Maxwell case, I think, begins on Monday. You may remember that's the woman who would gather people to be abused and used who were minors by that syndicate run by herself and others. We also have good news. There's a great story about a fellow in Colorado who has been collecting data on snowfall in Colorado, lived in the mountains for something like 50 years, and has been able to measure the changes in the snow. And by this means, we can tell what our challenges are to that area of the country that sorely needs water. And the answer is we're at risk. So here I am in my cathedral of trees on another Sunday, and I hope you get out today because I don't know how many days we're going to have that are going to be warm enough like this where you can get out and enjoy the weather. So all the best. Talk to you on Monday. Bye-bye.